Why, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. And as you can see, I've been doing quite a bit of building. I probably could have shot 10 episodes worth of stuff if I had actually been satisfied with what I recorded, but for some reason I never am. So I suppose I wanted to just show you this and say something that happened to be on my mind that's been there for years. Because you see, sometimes you need to be the villain if you're to see tomorrow, even if tomorrow is still terrible. Sometimes you might find yourself overwhelmed with a vivid hallucination in the middle of an already terrifying event where a second future is shown and you want it terribly. But the thing that always bothered me is that I assumed merely wanting it was just as bad as taking the action. After all, laws apply for people who do such actions by accident or in desperation. However fleeting and haunting as it might be, this was desire. I've always been haunted by visions of my worst nightmares in the middle of a clear day, felt invisible hands crawling closer, yet only needed to lay down and sleep. Tried to sleep, only to hear a tremendous explosion that no one else could hear. Even when I started to dream, the landscape is liable to suddenly shift into a beautiful nightmare, where I curse myself for shaking myself back to wake and out of my shackles. So you can understand why it's easy to paint the mask of the monster on such a situation and call it hopeless, rotten, corrupt, and finally not worth saving. But that's probably just normal. Finally just awake and wishing I could see the one dream from before everything went to hell. But I've been there once and can get out again. We build heaven here on this earth, or not at all. It's as simple as that. So, perhaps we should... So perhaps we should enjoy ourselves while we've got our time here. Build something we can truly enjoy. At least, I suppose that's my plan on the entire situation. Okay, yeah, I am... definitely a little on the confused side, because I could have sworn that I remember being able to feed seeds to chickens to accelerate their growth or something. Maybe that was added in 1.4 when they also added in the ability to feed them both melon, pumpkin, and netherwort seeds. I think at least. Perhaps 1.4 was the correct version. 1.4.2, does that sound correct? Well, the voice in my head says that sounds correct. Now, one of the reasons that I had chosen Extreme Hills biome is because it seems that I was under the false impression that no passive mobs spawn here, and from what I was reading, I didn't see sheep listed in there, and it kept saying cold variant mobs, but I think that I saw both pig and cow in the list, as well as llama, which, of course, is a mob that I'm not interested in the slightest. But the chickens are definitely a surprise. I didn't really expect to see them so soon. I thought that I was going to actually have to go out to the jungle biome. Am I pointing in the right direction? Which way south? Oh yeah, I was pointing in the right direction. I figured I was gonna have to go out to that jungle biome to go and get chickens. As I remember an interaction between chickens and ocelots where they get killed, and of course that means that they spawn in the same biome, similar to how wolves and sheep, well, of course, share an interaction. Oh, I tell you, nostalgia and memories. They're so painful to walk through. Bittersweet, you might say, instead. As I have so many inside of my mind. Almost too many at this point. Of regrets, I mean to say. So many times that I should have kept my mouth shut, or so many times that I should have been so much louder, and didn't follow the advice of the voice inside of my head. Well, you either learn or you tear yourself up for the rest of your life. So I suppose the only thing to really do is just be better. No matter what that's gonna mean tomorrow. A nice good-sized one. That might even be a couple of stacks worth. Oh, how I wish I had a couple of pistons. Oh, just a pair of pistons would mean so much to me. Because then I could... Over there at the lava thing, you can see that I've pulled it backwards by a block. I've placed a fence underneath the blade of it, that it forms a cobble on the third block. It's got a solid block over the top. I even have the water stream set up to go and toss the stuff that ends up too far over that way, pushing it back towards my player so that I pick it up in my inventory instead of have to step over there and grab it. And no matter what I do in the way of trying to save the cobble from actually ending up inside of the lava, it just tends towards diving at it over and over again to where I feel like I only get about half of the blocks that I'm mining, which is so painful when I can compare it to something that's efficient, like wood, where, you know, realistically, I might have to break a few leaves here and there to get my way through, and I might even have a hard time seeing what I'm doing in the first place. But I get 4 blocks to go and place wherever I like for every block that I actually break. It's so much more efficient. And none of it jumps into the lava. I mean, yeah, actually, none of it even jumps into the void because I've got my, my stuff all put in decent locations for everything. That I actually thought out everything. Oh, God! Okay, let me just go get some clean shorts. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a good day. Alrighty. I do believe that there's very little for me to actually do now, other than finish the last few bits of my build, which I'm really loving the looks of, although they do make me very dizzy and gasp for breath over and over again. But then again, isn't that what a good build is supposed to be? A thing that leaves you breathless? Well, at least for me, I guess. But then again, I suppose if you remember, the real idea was that I was going to make myself something of an elytra course, outside of collecting a handful of very specific items. But while we're here, there is something that I can do that's, well, a touch cheaper than in other versions because, well, leather is one of those things which I don't exactly have an awful lot of inside of something like a Skyblock world, and although Deadly Dirtblock reminded me that I was absolutely incorrect, it turns out that what is it, passive mob spawn just fine inside of Extreme Hills biome, but needless to say, I don't need to farm up nearly as much as I did on my normal world because I'll be a little more conservative with the resources here. But it would be good if I could make sure to just make sure that I've got some extras in the way of books for when the time comes that I actually do need them. I don't necessarily know that I'll be able to use them too awful soon, but once I've got three diamonds, that'll really change everything. And I think I can find them inside of End Cities, right where I'll find the elytra as well. So it kind of makes sense that these 2 final items I should find together. So, guess it's probably time for me to get back to the stuff up there, because once I'm done building with everything up on the top, well, and also down on the bottom, and I've got the major portions of the base built, well, Then also there's that bottom balcony, but there isn't too awful much more that I can build on it other than perhaps a single plate. I think that there's a single plate down there that I can actually build worth of it. The rest of it, though, I do want to use other colors. So I think that'll just have to... Okay, I'll get down there. I'll go ahead and finish off that last little bit. I'll get up there. I'll get around to finishing that last little bit. And I'll also get down, well, into the area down below there and finish off mirroring the final balcony, because I do believe that it would look absolutely beautiful when, viewed from at least like this kind of a view right here. These cascading waterfalls that seemingly come down from some kind of structure here within the main body of the central core of of the build itself. Now, of course, I did quite a bit of research looking around. I saw quite a few mob farms, both old and new, ancient ones that people still build today, as well as a new one. I kind of liked its general idea, but I think I'd rather not build any kind of a mob farm before I can have a piston. My need for resources is not so great that I need assistance just yet, and there is very, very little left in 1.2 that I can do other than finish what I'm doing and move on. But when I do move on, I think that I'm going to give what I've done to you all in the form of a world download. That way you can inspect it yourself. Oh yeah, that's definitely promising. It kinda looks like trash right now, but once I have the rest of the blocks in place, it's going to actually look amazing. It's just going to take so much time. I'm not in over my head. I can do that. I can do this. It's gonna look so good once it's done. Oh, I'm so excited. So much of it already looks so good. Maybe I should show, just for a brief moment, just this once, show you what I mean. That's about what I'm thinking, except for so much more of an idea behind it all.